There's a strange moment that almost every developer eventually reaches. You're busy. You're productive. Your code works. You're shipping features. You're closing tickets. You're moving fast. And yet, something feels just a little bit off. You're doing a lot, but you're learning very little. It's not because you're lazy. And it's not because you lack discipline. It's because you're comfortable. Comfort zones don't look like failure. They look like success. They look like clean builds, green check marks, and predictable days. You know the stack. You know the fixes. You know exactly where to click. And that's the danger. Comfort doesn't stop you from working. It stops you from stretching. The brain loves comfort. It craves certainty. It loves patterns that repeat. Familiar work feels rewarding. It feels efficient. It feels safe. And that sense of safety tricks you into thinking you're actually growing. But real growth doesn't feel safe. Learning happens when your mental models break. When you don't immediately know the answer. When you have to slow down instead of speeding up. Comfort removes friction. And friction is where true understanding is forged. This is exactly how developers get stuck without ever realizing it. You master one framework. You get really fast at it, so you start to avoid anything outside of it. You find yourself saying things like, "That's not really my area," or "I'll get around to learning that later," or "Maybe someone else usually handles that." You stop opening unfamiliar files. You stop touching those scary, complex parts of the system. You stop trying to debug code that you didn't write. Not because you can't, but because it feels uncomfortable. And slowly, quietly, your growth curve flattens. At first, there's no real penalty for this. Your job still pays. Your work still ships. People around you still trust you. But the cost is delayed. It's not immediate. You start to feel it during interviews. When the questions feel much harder than your actual day-to-day work. You feel it when new tools and technologies feel completely overwhelming. You notice it when junior developers seem to catch up faster than you ever expected. It's that moment you realize your confidence comes from memory, not from a deep, fundamental understanding. You're not getting worse, you're just not expanding anymore. And in the world of tech, standing still looks a lot like falling behind. So here's the uncomfortable truth. Real growth often feels bad. It feels like confusion. It feels like reading code that just doesn't make sense. It feels like being slow again. Like asking questions you think you should already know the answers to. Growth feels inefficient. It's messy, it's unpolished. But that discomfort isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign that your system is upgrading. The best developers don't avoid this discomfort. They schedule it. They intentionally take ownership of things they don't fully understand. They read code they didn't write. They try to debug things without immediately escaping the Stack Overflow for the answers. They don't live outside their comfort zone. They visit it intentionally. Comfort isn't the enemy. Living there forever is. Comfort should be a place to rest, not a place to build an entire career. If your work feels easy all the time, you're probably not learning enough. And that's okay, as long as you notice it, because growth doesn't happen when things feel safe. It happens when you lean into the discomfort and trust yourself to adapt. That's the developer mindset. Thanks for watching.